Nobody thinks about these little items that can make key differences in their lives.
Of course, we had to do this in the middle of winter, right?
Well, you know, Pacific Northwest and winter. But what happens when we're cutting corners?
It's this concept of what is best to get, what is good to get, and what is adequate, and then what just doesn't work at all.
So in here, we're in the master suite of the Matt's Place Coeur d'Alene home.
Okay.
We learned a lot of lessons, right? Walls are not your friend. Transitions need to be seamless. All of these things we learned after. And unfortunately, that's the way a lot of families have to learn.
The first question, can you put in a ramp? Yes, we can put in a ramp. The second question, can you take it out?
Everybody was like, no, we have to start with ramps.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's exactly how it went.
The background story is he didn't want to dance with me, and I asked him to. And then we've been dancing ever since.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Theresa Whitlock-Wild. I'm co-founder of Matt's Place.
Hi, I'm Matt Wild, co-founder of Matt's Place. I'm very happy today to be with you and present our video series on hope and housing. I want to say thank you to ALS Finding a Cure for the generous grant that they provided us to do this project.
Hi, my name is Jim Profit. I am the owner of a small accessibility company called Access Home. We do construction directly related to home access. We've been going about 13 years now. Although we're a general contractor, we focus exclusively on doing things that help somebody get in and out of their home, make it more accessible. Ramps, grab bars, zero entry showers.
We're here today because in 2015, when Matthew was diagnosed, I knew nothing about accessibility in the home. I didn't know the tips or the questions that we were supposed to ask. We kept the tile. We tried to make it really simple and try to keep me having a bathtub, which looking back now, I would have not done any of that. I would have opened up all of this, but I didn't know. And so we made a lot of mistakes along the way. And we met other families and they didn't have answers either. And so this is to help us in the ALS community learn how to make your home accessible.
And I have these out here just to kind of, along with some other things, just show what some of the specialty things are for people with ALS as well as other disabilities.
Whether your resources are very big or very small, and ways that we can help provide that information and answer some questions.
I get asked questions all the time on what people need for home accessibility. And one of the challenges that I've observed is that the construction industry doesn't always see things the same way that the home health industry needs things done. So I've really tried to take our company and try to problem solve. Let's figure out what the needs are. For example, we're not just putting in a floor. What we're trying to do is make a floor work so that somebody can get around in it and have mobility.
I had never even heard of getting a
floor vent that was designed for a wheelchair.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
They're not on the shelf at Lowe's. We're not just putting in a bathroom or a shower. We're trying to make it so that there's mobility. And we have to think about more than just, what a shower is, but who's also going to be using it. Are there going to be caregivers? Are there going to be people who are going to be helping and assisting? Plus, there's other folks living in the house.
And also, I'd add to that in that this disease is progressive. So you can't just make a plan for one part of the disease. You have to plan for every stage of the disease and what it looks like. This is really kind of an ideal situation for an ALS family because they have the space, they have the handlebars, they have the sloping floor, but they've also got adequate space for the caregiver to help with transfers and such.
What we want to do is come and look at this from an approach that makes the most sense for the different families. What's everything possible that we would need to have, which is what some people want to try to do from a construction standpoint because they want you to spend more money, versus what is the minimalistic approach? What are some of the basic essential things that we need to pay attention to? And a lot of them really don't cost that much. It's just having an awareness of what you should be looking for and how to do it. There will be some expenses, but they don't have to be crazy expensive. And also knowing what to look for in a product that's not just what the sales pitch presents, but really think about, okay, am I going to be able to use this? Is it going to really serve the function? Or am I just creating a different problem that I don't know about? It's important to have a hand held shower head. Well, you know, most of the ones where you have to stick it up. So this is one that's magnetic, and that is super easy to use. And the other thing you can do is get another dock that mounts lower. So if you're the caregiver assisting,
you have 2 options.
You've got 2 places. You can grab it from the top and then, I need to set it, and you can just set it against the mounting dock.
Oh, I see.
So we're hopeful that this can be a resource that not just for the families, but for the people doing the work to say, oh, I didn't think about that, and help them think about it before they've done the whole remodel and they find out, oh, I can't get my wheelchair into this room because the transition's too high.
Well, and as they're navigating these challenges, they don't just have the cost coming out of their pocket for remodeling their environment. They have to find wheelchair accessible vehicles, co-pays for durable medical equipment on top of co-pays for medications. A loved one is generally has to make the choice of putting their loved one into a long-term care facility, which is not a viable option for many families. They have to make the choice between, do they go back to work or do they try to just make their dollars stretch? And then the really devastating part is the ALS patient is feeling like a burden, not just financially, but physically and emotionally. How can we help offset some of those feelings, some of those experiences? And the best way to do that is to share what we know. Matthew and I were actually just dating when he was diagnosed with ALS. It was one of those moments where, it was kind of defining. ALS became our world. We had all the same questions. What is a terminal illness? What is this disease? What does this mean for our lives? And we found out right away that the VA was going to be a tremendous support to us, and they have been. And one of our next questions to each other was, what about other families? And so we learned right away that accessibility in the home, safe environments with ramps and bathroom remodels and such, is a key component to having a high quality life with this disease, but also that those resources are not always available for families. Most families aren't considering saving for something such as this. Wheelchair accessible vehicles, wheelchair accessible bathrooms, bedding, how to move the patient, the additional resources and care, and then let's add on top of that drugs and durable medical equipment. All of these things are expensive on top of the emotional and psychological aspect of this disease.
Rizzuto Foundation is a nonprofit that my brilliant wife Theresa and I started shortly after I was diagnosed. It started out as, let's do ramps, let's do remodels, and then Theresa was like, why don't we just build houses?
Actually, I think it was the other way. I said, let's build smart homes, and I think everybody was like, no, we have to start with ramps.
I don't know. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it went.
So I guess I would jump in on this and say we started providing ramps for accessibility with the few $1,000s here and there that we had raised. And it grew into bathroom remodels, home accessibility, door widenings, pulling carpet, new flooring for wheelchair accessibility. But then it progressed to mortgage and rent assistance. We built the first home for a family to live in free of charge. It's 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with full home automation. That means that if somebody with ALS has lost the ability to speak, they can use a tablet to control their environment, their lights, the ceiling fan, temperature, television, doors. Take it one step further, if that patient or that family member has lost the ability to move and they can't speak, they're going to use alternative and augmented communication devices called eye gaze. And that's just using your eyes to communicate with a screen. Well, then we've inserted the ability for them to use their eyes to control their environment. So this home is fully accessible in every way, but it's also free of charge. So the family living in that home can use the money instead of rent or mortgage to help assist with medical expenses, travel, and the things that they want to do. Unfortunately, we're only serving families right now in Idaho, Montana, and Washington. That leaves 47 other states that we're missing. And so this tool, this series, Hope in Housing series, is meant to be a tool for families in the areas that we don't reach right now. Please use it, please share it, please give us feedback. We want to improve and we want to help get the answers out to families wherever they may be.
One of the things that I have learned as a contractor, you can't just smile at it. So you were talking about what happened in your bathroom when you didn't quite know what you were losing it already.